interact with us. If you're wondering how, if you're maybe you're in the car or you're at work and you got the radio dial and you're saying, how can I ask a question of these guests? How can I participate? Well, it's super easy. Just follow us at Aaron Michael Sanchez or KMET 1490 AM on Facebook and on Twitter at KMET Radio and Aaron M. Sanchez, as well as Brett at Brett on Sports. And in fact, speaking of epicness, switching gears up to an epic, that's right, evening happening here in Los Angeles, November 11th. We're going to be joined by international, well-known classical crossover tenor and powerhouse vocalist Mario Frangoulis, and I just want to welcome him to the show because I understand he's taking time out of his rehearsal, so if he happens to have a bad performance and because of his missing the rehearsal, it's because of this interview. So Mario, thank you for coming on to the morning show.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. Yes, we're having a break so we can speak to you, but it's an exciting break because we're speaking to you. And thank you for having me on your program.
Oh, absolutely. So, Mario, first of all, I have to ask, obviously, we're here in Los Angeles. You're coming to Los Angeles November 11th. Where are you at this very moment, or can you disclose that?
At the moment, I'm in Greece. I just came back from Hungary, Budapest, where I had a concert there. And in a couple of days, I go to Sydney for 2 concerts on the 20th and 22nd. And then I travel to New York. I have the first concert in the Rose Theatre, Jazz Legend Center's the Rose Theatre on November 6th. Then I go to Montreal to play at Place des Arts on November 9th. And then I come to you in Los Angeles at the Wilshire Bell Theatre on November 11th.
Yes, and I understand it's an entire evening with you. And for those that are unfamiliar with your music, I have to say Broadway World has called you one of the most beautiful tenor voices on earth. CNN has said your unique voice is glistening with dynamics and tonal control. And I recently now am subscribed to your YouTube channel, and I'm listening to everything you have. I listened to Eva Maria, by the way. And
Thank you
have performed with Sarah Brightman. I mean, you have done so much in your career. What's this journey been like for you, Mario?
Ave Maria was performed for the first time in Spanish, and it was produced for Tales of Christmas, which was the latest Christmas album which I made with 6-time Grammy Award-winning composer, producer, Jorge Calandrelli, who actually has his studio in Los Angeles. So I'm very happy that we'll be seeing each other again. He'll come to the show, of course. And my great friend Steve Wood, who produced my first album, Sometimes I Dream, which was a great opening for me as a young artist, in a sense, as we reached top Billboard charts back then with Sony Classical. And ever since, I've traveled the world, and here I am back to Los Angeles at the Wilshire Bell, presenting an intimate evening. We call it an intimate evening because we only have 5 musicians. We don't have the big orchestras, but the show will be just as great because these are 5 amazing musicians. They play for 10, and their soul is there, their passion for music is there. As I said, I'm in the middle of a rehearsal, so I'm very, very excited by the result and what people will see on these concerts.
Well, and again, you've done some amazing songs here, and I know some of my favorite, but you as a performer, you can do all of the songs. Which is your favorite to sing? One that you truly connect with?
I have a few songs that I love. One of them is Hijo de la Luna by Jose Maria Cano, because it sort of talks about the moon that bends to take care of a little boy that was abandoned by his family. And I'm always very close to children in my heart, who have suffered. And it's not really their fault that some situations take over in their lives. And the song is about that. It's about these children finding a safe home and a helping hand and a loving heart. And it's one of the songs that is very, very close to my heart. And of course, Jose Maria Cano is one of the the best composers in the world. The other one, of course, I love is Vincerò Perderò, which means to win or to lose, which is in a sense a journey that we all take in life, and whether we win or lose, it doesn't really matter. It's the journey that really matters, and it's the struggle of oneself through his own life and his own problems, and especially what goes on around them. So songs that are meaningful and songs that have a message to put across to the audience, in a sense, are very, very meaningful and very heartfelt for me. Also love songs, of course, like Feels Like Home by Randy Newman, which we will also be performing here, and The Rose, of course, and great songs like Historia del Amor and Nights in White Satin by Justin Hayward, which I had the pleasure of singing a duet with him on my first album, and he's just an amazing artist and a wonderful friend.
Well, and it's amazing when you can enter this world of amazing friends of, I guess now they are your colleagues. Growing up and getting into being a vocalist of this sort, did you have anyone that you aspired, either that you at least looked up to and perhaps inspired you to get into what you do now?
Of course. Well, first of all, it's the great American mezzo-soprano, Marilyn Horne, who gave me my sort of, who introduced me to Luciano Pavarotti and to Placido Domingo and to some of the great singers of our time, who, of course, they heard me as a young student at Juilliard, and they advised me. And later on, quite a few years later, we also had the pleasure of collaborating together and performing joint concerts. With Placido, we've performed a few concerts together in Europe, and I was so happy to discover that this man that I idolized and was my big, amazing hero as a child was suddenly next to me singing Granada with me, and he was just so generous and warm-hearted and so wonderful with me on stage with the public.
Yeah, those are those beautiful memories, and it's amazing how sometimes the world comes full circle when you admire somebody, and then now you're able to perform with them. I personally, I've had, if you could tell a message to Sarah Brightman, I had her a couple of her CDs, and then somebody broke into my car, took her CDs, but you get to perform with Sarah Brightman. How cool is that?
Very cool. In fact, and, she's the only artist I've performed over 70 concerts with, in America and Mexico and Canada and, China, of course, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea. And now we are on to where we will be working together on our third tour, which is the European tour, performing the Royal Christmas Gala and singing those great songs, of course, from Phantom of the Opera, myself playing the Phantom and Sarah singing Christine in such a unique way, her own style. She created this role, and she created this kind of style of classical crossover, which inspired so many young people of our age to follow that path in that sense. So when I come to Los Angeles, Aaron, I'll get you a few CDs of Sarah's.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I seriously, whoever broke into my car, if you can just return them, that would be great. But somebody out there is really appreciating her music as well. Now, our social media audience, also known as the Breakfast Club on Facebook, are commenting, and one of them, Kathy Thomas, says she has seen you perform in Orlando, Florida. So this isn't your first time to the States, it sounds like.
No, not the first time. I've performed over 100 concerts in the States, with some of the major orchestras as well. Also, that Kathy so kindly mentioned, and Boston Pops, of course, with Keith Lockhart, which was a very big PBS show as well for us, and some great orchestras, the Baltimore Symphony, the Chicago Symphony. A lot of major orchestras, but a lot of my personal concerts, of course, around the United States and Canada.
Well, Mario, again, I want to say a big thank you for spending time with us, especially during your rehearsal. So, I'm assuming, again, nothing, you know what? No, I'm wishing the best for you in every performance you do. I understand you are in this European tour. Can you give two of those, both that information? Because we do have a UK audience on Facebook. So I know some of them are already chomping at the bit to see you. And then also your information for here in Los Angeles.
For sure. I will. You mean to give you dates and places that we perform?
Yes, just the dates at least for November 11th. Again, just to remind us.
Yes, and November 11th is at Wilshire Ebel Theater, where we perform in Los Angeles with my band. In Montreal, of course, November 9th, and New York, November 6th, going back. But November 11th is very important for me also because I return to my recording home in that sense. I love Los Angeles, and I have many friends and many fans who are now my friends. And, of course, some of the greatest producers, having worked in some of the big studios there. I'm very excited to be coming back. In Europe, we'll be performing in all the Scandinavian countries with Sarah Brightman, and many dates in Germany, like Düsseldorf and Frankfurt and Hanover and Hamburg, and of course going to, you can always get this information, in fact, from my site, which is the www.mariofrangoulis.com. All the dates are posted in that case. I won't remember everything, and I don't
no,
want to disappoint.
and it's okay. I don't even remember sometimes when we schedule certain interviews, but I remembered this one. So I want to say thank you, Mario, for spending time with us.
Thank you.
For those that have been following your career from the very beginning, what would you like to say to them?
I'd like to say that they should never let go of their dreams, and be strong and keep working very hard, because like Placido Domingo once taught me, the three magic words to success are work, work, work. And there's no other way to do it, unfortunately. If we all think that someone is very well known and it's all about fame and, making a lot of money, but it's not like that. There's a lot of work that goes behind that, and many, many hours of studying and focusing on your music. And I think it's great. It's great to have those dreams and never let go of them, and work hard, and one day they will achieve them.
I love it, and you will love it too. That's right. He's coming locally to Los Angeles November 11th at the Wilshire Ebel Theater. Again, you can get all of, especially those of you that are tuning in from international, go check out his website. It's very easy. Mario, and it's Frangoulis. So how do you say it properly? I'm totally botching it up. I know, Mario.
Basically, normally you have an S on Mario. So it's Marios Frangoulis, and that's the Greek way of saying it. But, Sony Classical at the time, and Peter Gelb and Tommy Mottola, who signed me, they said, lose the S from Marios, and we'll call you Mario, because maybe that's a more commercial sort of name for the recording industry, and people to recognize.
That and Nintendo ruined it for you. Seriously, we see Mario and we just go, hello, it's a Mario. So that's what we think. But again, Mario Frangoulis, thank you so very much for spending time with us here on the morning show, and congratulations on all of your continued success.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, and thank you to your listeners for taking care of me and listening to my little stories here.
No, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. We're going to take a break here on The Morning Show. When we come back, we got more. That's right. Coming up next here on The Morning Show.